Welcome to Part 4 of the Scaleforum 2022 report. In this part of the report, we will take a wander round the second half of the sports hall. Anti-clockwise along the upper side and down the left edge. The next thing to look at is the Faringdon layout. This layout is a scale model of the former Great Western Railway branch station at Faringdon in Oxfordshire. This layout is very well documented in magazine articles and online videos. What appears here is a glimpse of what was on show at Scaleforum. The model depicts the station as it might have appeared during the transition from GWR to British Rail ownership, during the period between 1947 and 1955. As was typical of minor routes at that time, the buildings retain the colours of the former GWR. But most of the engines and stock carry the new liveries of British Rail. Faringdon used to have passenger services, linking the town to both Swindon and Didcot. By 1945, this was reduced to a simple shuttle service to the junction at Uffington. Background information for the layout is displayed on a board to one side. The layout is very photogenic, so here is a series of photos taken whilst it was at Scaleforum. Looking towards the signal cabin from the loco shed. The loco shed. With its pit. On the far side is the goods shed. The approach view from the home signal. And looking in the other direction from the station buffer stops. Stop, look and listen at the foot crossing. A general view looking across the station yard. In the 1950s, this relatively new provender store serviced the needs of local farmers. And some examples of the building detail, so beautifully executed. And finally, the competition from road transport. Now let's look at a couple of typical trams running. The first is a passenger departure.
When I left, they flew. When it was like, they should be taken before it reached.
Day.
That's right, yes. Yeah.
And now we see a freight departure. In the corner next to Faringdon is the pendant stand, showing off the museum at its best with dioramas, pictures and videos. Just behind us is Dart Castings, with their extensive range of white metal cast models for everything from people to farm machinery. Moving along, we come to the stand for Rumney models, offering a range of rolling stock kits and parts in cast white metal, etched and 3D printed. Sutton's Locomotive Works are showing museum-quality 4mm scale models, available ready to run with P4 wheel sets. Also on display were models for the Mostyn layout, built by the Barrowmore Model Railway Group, representing British Rail in 1977. At the other end of the stand, there is a small diorama, with Class 24s both decorated and undecorated. The great thing about visiting the show is you have the chance to talk direct to the manufacturer and examine in detail what you want to buy, rather than rely on glossy images on an internet sales site. It gives you confidence before shelling out the hard-earned cash. In the middle of the hall is the Obbekaer layout. Obbekaer is a P87 scale layout based in Denmark, representing a typical private railway set in the 1950s and 60s. Whilst the layout is imaginary, it is based on authentic details, and some of the research is displayed on boards beside the layout. Also on display on a tablet were research photos for similar stations. The line would have run from Reeb on the west coast of Jutland, eastwards through the village of Obbekaer and on to Graham and Vogens. The station is very simple, supporting just a passing loop and siding. It's a sleepy place, woken several times a day by the passage of a rail bus or mixed train. Note the shelf on the front of the rail bus for large parcels. The trains are typical of branch line formations on both the private lines and the State Railway DSB in Jutland. The models are either scratch-built or heavily modified commercial products. Here we have a passenger service arriving from Graham. Next we see the rail bus departing towards Graham. Followed by a freight departure towards Graham. The station building is very simple, little more than a waiting room. The signalling is limited to starting signals for each direction, mounted on a single post. Freight facilities are graced with a crane for loading and unloading wagons. Here is a nice detail showing the point operating and indication mechanism used on rural lines in Denmark. Note the set of agricultural disc harrows beside the track, awaiting collection. This small building is used for livestock, with a loading ramp to the right. On the other side of the track is the goods shed, with a local delivery lorry. Behind the scenes in the fiddle yard, there is a range of stock for passenger, freight and mixed trains. Over on the other side of the aisle is Sunningwell Command Control, making a fair bit of noise. They are demonstrating a sound chip fitted to a terrier. And here is John Jewett with a few words about
So we've come across to Scaleforum this year. We are showing the various systems that are available to everybody, giving them an opportunity to have a go if they want to, if they've not experienced it before, and also just showing them the process of installing a decoder into a locomotive. Irrespective of scale, the process is exactly the same, and it is comparatively straightforward.
Next is Prickly Pear Products, offering white metal and etched kits for locos and rolling stock. It's good to be able to see a specialist supplier such as this at the show, as they have no presence on the internet. The Southwestern Circle Line Society stand had a display of brightly coloured posters and artwork from the pre-grouping era, as well as the range of monograms covering specific topics such as Waterloo Station or the Salisbury accident in 1906. Each book provides in-depth detail and analysis of the topic and are provided as part of the subscription to the Society. The final layout is Richmond Surrey. The Richmond Surrey layout models the station as it was in 1908. Over a period of time, the station evolved from being a terminus in 1846, the shed building on the left, to having a through line in the middle with new platforms at the far end in 1853, to having a new terminus station added on the right for trains from Hammersmith in 1869. The original timber station building became the goods depot, giving rather cramped accommodation, with lots of posts in the way. The layout is being built and exhibited in phases. The phase being shown at Scaleforum is part of the mainline station, the original south goods yards and the new station platforms. The layout is fully signalled with all signals operating. Trains are driven to the signals. LSWR practice was to use lower quadrant signals. Here you can see the reverse side of 4 starting signals for each of the platform lines in the new station. The 2 nearest posts have platform entry signals, as there is a centre road with a release crossover at the inner end of the platform. The down-home signal on the main line is duplicated at high level, due to the lower signal being obscured by the overbridge. In the yard, hand levers were used to switch the points, and these have been modelled. All buildings are scratch built, using floor plans and photos where they exist. And the building brickwork is coloured yellow-brown to reflect the pale coloured brickwork commonly found in the locality. The footbridge on the main line station is a grand affair, with covered walkway and wide stairs. The coal yard is in front of the old terminus and seems to have a number of different merchants, each with their own compound. The bridge over the middle of the layout carries foot and horse traffic. Motor vehicles had yet to become common in this part of the world. The timetable is based on the actual working timetable, where trains ran very frequently throughout the day, and indeed all night for the Kingston roundabout services. LSWR services ran to Waterloo, Reading, Kingston and Shepperton. And a typical train for this route would be a T9 with a 4.5 set bound for Waterloo, probably from Reading. In addition, there are services to the new station by the GWR from Hammersmith, North London Railway from Gunnersbury, and the District Line from Ravenscourt Park. The layout offers the opportunity to model all sorts of stock, in particular the non-passenger vehicles such as horse boxes, from a wide variety of companies, giving interest to what can be seen. Much more stock is in the pipeline. And the challenge with LSWR modelling is the stock lining. Each panel is surrounded by a red and black line, and it has tiny gilded lettering. hugely time-consuming to produce. Freight requirements were met with pick-up goods services from various yards including Nine Elms. Other goods services passing through the station included horsebox trains and milk trains, bound for destinations like Staines and Reading. Here we have a 320 class, moving from the yard to the down main with a rake of wagons.
Yes, I think it might be better if we set compromise.
The layout has a number of control panels. Here we see the west signal box with 25 levers which control access to the goods yards. Another of the control panels is for the yard itself, with 7 points. The method of construction for the baseboard looks unusual. The legs are tripod structures, and the baseboard stiffeners have been extensively drilled to reduce weight. Across the way from Richmond is the Cavalax model stand, showing their range of fabulously detailed modern image locos and rolling stock. Their models are detailed and decorated to the very highest standards. Next to them is Pre-Grouping Railways, who provide kits for rolling stock, mostly wagons and vans, produced using 3D printing technology. Many of the wagons are for the smaller railways, such as the Midland and South Western, Somerset and Dorset, or Cambrian. The final stand in the sports hall was C&L, showing their range of track components, with a demonstration of track assembly for plain line and turnouts. That completes the tour of the sports hall, and now back to the atrium for the awards. The awards were made by the Society Chairman John Chambers. The Scalefour Society Order of Merit was awarded to Bob Bourne for his service to the Society over many years. The York Trophy is awarded at Scaleforum each year to the most popular layout in the show, as decided by a public vote. This year, the winner was the Faringdon layout. The Eileen's Emporium Award for the best layout detail goes to the Market Bosworth layout for their model of the trader's store and the loading scene. Thank you for watching the show report from our new venue. There were many layouts to see, and it was a great opportunity to talk directly to suppliers about their products, not to mention meeting up with long-standing friends for a cuppa. Hopefully we will see you at next year's show.